In this video, I'm sharing with you how I did my own jumbo knotless braids and how you can braid your own hair at home too, without needing any help. How to part by yourself, feed in the hair, the best braiding techniques, the beads application, and sealing your ends. Destiny. So I'm getting ready to wash my hair because I want to do braids. I thought I wanted to do feed-in braids. By the time y'all see this, never mind. I don't know why we narrate what's on the thumbnail and be like, I thought I wanted to do this, but I'm gonna do that. I was scrolling Instagram. I just typed in braids on the hashtag. I was scrolling through and I ran across one that I liked. My sister Boone washed my hair about 3 days ago. I don't want to go straight in with the blow dryer with it being in this state, and if I'm going to dampen it to blow it out, I may as well at least wash it. So what I'm going to do, use the Pantene Deep Hydrating Co-Wash. I had just grabbed this from Dollar Tree months ago, so I just grabbed it out of my stash. Whenever I do braids, I always like to make sure I've done a good deep condition. So while I'm deep conditioning, I'm going to go ahead and get a feel for how I should do this, since they're going to kind of be like plaits, not necessarily. I mean, they are plaits, braids, plaits, but I'm going to go ahead and watch videos on YouTube for tips and things like that, because that's how I do my own hair, just by like watching and learning, and then you just practice it on yourself. Because I'm trying to empty these out, I'm going to mix these two, the Shea Moisture Protein Treatment as well as the ᶫᵒᵛᵉᵧ Conditioner. For a full product list, check the description box down below. This was the last hair tutorial on my channel, so definitely be sure to check that out. I didn't put the camera in there because I don't really feel like vlogging that process, but I know that this co-wash is everything. I paused to read the back, and it does say stylist tips used in place of shampoo and conditioner system in between washes, which is perfect since I said I did just get my hair washed 3 days ago. My hair likes this. It feels good. I did get this at Dollar Tree. Whenever I see name brand products in there, I always grab them. Plus it gives you the chance to try products at a cheaper price. But I'm definitely going to invest in the Pantene Gold series. This is a sponsor. I just like to let you all know about things that I like. I'm always excited when I find products that my hair likes. Maybe my hair isn't like a shampoo with too much type of texture. Maybe it likes co-washes. This is my first time using a co-wash. By the way, I'm leaning all in close. I just wanted y'all to see the curls though. So now that my hair has been shampooed and conditioned, or actually co-washed and deep conditioned, I'm just going to begin by blowing out my natural hair. Shrinkage is real. Let me just put that out there. I want to make sure that my hair is nice and blowed out because it will make the braiding process easier for me. Be sure to use your favorite oils, heat protectants, moisturizers, all of that. Whatever your preference, I'll link the items that I used in my description box down below. So now that my hair is nice and blown out, and I'm using the cool setting, and I was also filming a separate Instagram hair tutorial, so that's where a lot of the singing will come from in this one. A mirror and a rat tail comb, as well as patience and time, are very important for braiding your hair by yourself. I'm going to do my initial part, then I reach for my mirror to perfect it even further and make sure that it matches the other side. Use something to get the rest of your hair out of the way so you can really see what you're doing. When you take your edge control and run that directly along your parting space and then you repart your hair, your part is like done to perfection. So now that I have that, I'm taking my edge control and I'm running that along the entire perimeter of the parting space. And I like to section the hair down the middle as well to make sure that I get it laying nice and smooth. And you see me just reaching for some oil as well. After that, you want to section your hair into 3 sections, and this is where this technique becomes much more simple than you would think it is. So I'm taking that bundle, and it's already been split directly in half. I'm going to basically run my finger through one of the sides to make an additional leg from that. Place this braiding hair underneath my own natural hair. I'm trying my best to make sure that I'm gripping that well, and I'm pulling it sort of tight to make sure that it's up along my root. So when you grab your weave, you want to place that underneath your real hair. And this is very important because this is how you conceal the knot. When you start braiding, you're going to begin braiding over, not under. When you're braiding over, you're keeping your real hair showing on top of the weave. And so you continue to braid and you're continuing to hide the weave underneath your real hair. And this gives the illusion that it's knotless, but really the knot is just on the underside of the braid, if that makes sense. I'm also reaching for a lot of product when I braid my hair, especially when I get down to where my own natural hair ends, because this will make sure that it's locked into the braiding hair. That way within a few days my natural hair won't start peeking out and this entire braid will remain seamless. You want to braid all the way down to the end, and with this technique, as long as your beginner piece that you use is the thickness that you want your entire braid to be, you will not have to feed in any additional hair, and you're still able to get knotless braids on yourself without trying to master the feed-in technique. And so now you should have your first section completed. We're going to section off the next section, section that off, and then I'm going to take the edge control that I'm using and run that directly along my part. Sometimes if I'm not looking in the mirror, what I will do, I'll try to use my finger as a guide to feel my part, and then I'll double check with the mirror. But like I said, extra mirrors are key. That way you can do this without needing any help. And boom, we got another straight part. Once you're satisfied with that part, you just want the part going straight down. To give my hair a little bit of symmetry, I'm using the previous braid as a guide, and I'm making sure that these braids match up to the middle of the previous section. I hope that makes sense. I'm using the Shake and Go Free Tress braiding hair. This is the 3x braid, and it's already pre-stretched, 28 inches. This one is in 1B. I'm splitting this bundle directly in half. I repeat, directly in half. So now we're going to go ahead and again take the edge control to make sure our hair is nice and smooth. If you want to like blow dry and flat iron your hair, you can do that, but I just felt that blow drying alone and then using my edge control and products to stretch my hair even further was enough for me. I shouldn't have used an edge control that I know I don't want to mention. Trying something new, I may or may not be telling you all about it soon. On a good day when I'm not trying something new, products that I would recommend for you all is the Even New York 24-hour edge timer as well as Let's Jam. I always use those two products when I braid my own hair. Sectioning out the hair again, want to create an additional leg from the hair that you're holding, placing the braiding hair underneath your own natural hair. Grip these 3 legs with your own hair. It may feel natural to where you just want to begin sort of plaiting underhand, but to make sure that that knot is underneath on the underside, that's what you want to pass the hair over instead of under. So the way that I'm gripping the hair with all of my fingers, but my index fingers are my grabbing pieces. So when I pass the right side to the left, it's my index finger that holds it, and then you repeat the other way around. I had to swap out my SD cards, so I did finish that braid off camera, but we're going to continue with this one. So placing this hair underneath your natural hair, whether natural or relaxed, just your hair. And then you want to make sure your grip is tight on this. And the reason for that, you don't want your braid to look like it's grown out. So I'm trying to grab the braiding hair to be as close to my root as possible. Once I'm satisfied with my grip on that, I'm passing the right side over to the left and I'm grabbing that with my index finger. And then I pass the left side over to the right, grabbing that with my index finger. And so you're basically just sort of crossing your hands over one another in a over instead of under braiding pattern or fashion. If you kind of zone out and do it once you've gotten it down packed, that's what helped me. Like me trying to explain it to you all, you can get that, but then it's like the actual doing part that does it for you. Like when you're in the motion of doing it hands on, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I got you, sis, I got you. There's only a certain amount that your arms can go down. So when you pass your hair around, like when you bring it to the side, like how I'm doing now, make sure that you're mindful of your grip and that you don't twist your hands, because you don't want your braid to have that little twist right there. And if you get that, just kind of like be mindful of your 3 legs, slowly unplait, and then start back plaiting with it corrected. Also, I'm dipping my hands into Softee Gel. That way I can make sure that my natural hair is locked into the braid very well. You can use Eco, you can use Wetline, whatever gel you currently have just to do this with. After we finish that braid, you want to do a part down the middle, and then you want to do a part down to the left side as well as the right side near your ears. You can go ahead and secure that off, perfect your parts if you need to. We're going to start on our next section. So the first 2 sections you should have 2 braids, and then the next row is 3, and now this section is going to be 4. I went ahead and finished my feet and braid off camera just because I needed a different placement of my arms. They were getting tired. So from here, to match my symmetry again, from the previous row that we have, I place my comb in the center of that braid and I go up. And then I repeat that for all of my sections. I like to part all of them off so that I can visually see them before I begin plaiting, just in case I want to adjust something on that entire row, if that makes sense. To get your 3 legs, basically from holding the weave, right, your braiding hair, you just want to stick your index finger through there and establish an additional leg, and then kind of position that between your pointing finger and your middle finger. So you're going to take the braiding hair and you're going to place that underneath your natural hair. After that, I start grabbing that left one first, and then I combine the middle piece of my real hair with the middle braiding hair. Then I combine the right piece of my real hair with the right piece of the braiding hair. Basically, I'm just trying to put everyone where they belong. Focus on getting a good grip on the hair to make sure that it doesn't make my braid look like it's already growing out. That way, it's nice and snug on my root. After that, you want to braid over, not under, and this keeps your natural hair on top, and it conceals the braiding hair and also conceals the knot on the underside of the braid. You see me leaning in and out of the camera because I'm again reaching for product to make sure that my natural hair is locked in very well and that my braid is smooth. If you get to the point where you need to feed in hair, then basically when your pointing finger and your thumb are together, that's when you place it right there, and then one piece sort of gets left out until you cross your hand back over, and then it gets grabbed into that outer piece. I say outer piece and not the left outer piece or the right outer piece simply because you can feed the hair in on either side, so it's dependent upon where you've placed it. After that, you just want to braid all the way down to the end. Since I ran out of that original pack, I'm going to take a new pack of hair. Shout out to Evie Nicole on the packaging. This one is 1B as well, pre-stretched as well, so it'll still match up the same. And section that hair in half. This individual bundle was a little bit thicker, so I did take out some of the hair. After I take the whole bundle and separate it in half, I look at it and I see, like, do I think it's too thick or not? So I did take out a little bit from that one. Just do your best to get your braids to be the same in the thickness. I don't know if I'm going to put tutorial in the title for this, since this is my first time doing jumbo knotless braids on myself. I want this to more so be like how I did my own braids, but if tutorial is in the title, it's just for the sake of my video being found in the YouTube algorithm, honestly speaking. Also, be mindful that this video isn't really a how to braid video. So the techniques that I'm explaining here is with the assumption that you at least already know how to plait or do a little bit of braiding already. And another thing that I do like to do as I go along, you'll see that I look in the mirror quite often. I don't want to get all the way to the end of my braid and realize that I made a mistake when I can correct that as I'm going. And occasionally, every so often when I'm braiding, I'll dip my hand into the Softee Gel or whichever hair products I'm using at the time. For me, this just really helps to make sure that my hair is nice and smooth. I watch a lot of braiding videos here on YouTube, and different braiders do different things. Sometimes they reach for extra products, sometimes they more so just focus on slicking down your natural hair. When I do my own hair, I just take a little bit of everything I've learned and I just kind of do trial and error with it just to see what makes my braids last longer. I noticed a little mistake, unfortunately, as much mirror checking that I do. Still didn't catch this. I was trying to lay my hair down to see, like, okay, if this braid is laying down flat, are you gonna notice that? Should I really undo it and redo it? But I went ahead and redid the braid. So if you gently and neatly unplait your hair, you won't have to throw it to the side. Like, you can still use that same hair to start back braiding. Now we're in the front. We're going to finish off this last feed-in braid. Since this is sort of a large section, I'm kind of parting throughout my hair to just kind of like make sure I'm applying the edge control throughout and brushing that to make sure everything is nice and smooth. Since my hair is natural, I don't want it to only look good for one day and then it becomes like puffy and all of that. So take your time. Alright, so I'm sectioning out the hair. To this day still, on all of my braiding, I won't even say tutorials, all of my braiding videos here on YouTube, most asked question is about how I'm separating out the hair. But I always show you all, so I hope that helps you all. That's how I section it out. I just start by sectioning out a really small piece, and then the pieces just gradually get larger. I don't really know how else to explain it other than that. Start off braiding with my own natural hair because I don't know how to feed the hair in from the very beginning. Then when I do decide to pick up a piece, since I'm still close to the front, this piece is going to match the thickness of that braid. I don't want it to be too thick because it'll be a knot. And basically the whole idea with these braids is that everything looks like it's just coming from your own scalp. Next, I'm adding in another piece of hair, and that one is just gradually larger than the previous piece that we're using. Also, I never count my pieces. Your hands go in a repetitive pattern when you're braiding. When my pointing finger and my thumb are back in that same position to where they can grip a piece of hair, that's when I place the hair in. I know a lot of y'all always ask me, like, how many pieces, Destiny, how many pieces? Sure, I literally should have counted right now. Like, you can probably rewind and start counting, but I just personally never do that. I don't know, I just don't. Like, if I'm adding in 8 pieces, right, but then the thickness doesn't match on my other braid, or the length isn't the same as the other braid, You can't just say, oh, it's supposed to be 8. Like, I go based on, does the thickness match, does the length match? That's what I focus on. I hope that helps, and I hope that my voiceover has somewhat helped you to either attempt to want to braid your own hair at home, or if you want to follow along with this, I hope that I've kind of given step-by-step ways that you can do this as well. And if you do want to count your pieces, this clip is not edited, so you can definitely just rewind. I'm showing you all this entire feed in braid. If you just want to like rewind it back and then slowly count when I feed in the hair. Also, one more thing to note, if you get to the front and you're like, oh my god, I can't get these feed in braids, don't take your hair down. Just proceed to doing like the plaited versions, like the jumbo braids, the same way the other 3 rows are. You can definitely do that as well. If you Google some images of it, you'll see some people do these without doing the feed in braids in the front. There are lots of different variations to the jumbo braids, and actually you don't even have to feed in as much hair as I did. I think the next time I do this, I'm probably going to do more braids, less hair. So the photo that I found, that was just my inspiration picture for doing my braids the same way. Also, I'm not that YouTuber. I have to give credit where credit is due. We already got enough of that going around on YouTube. No shade, no tea, just saying. The video that helped me the most, because while I was deep conditioning my hair, I was watching jumbo braids videos so that I could, you know, do this very well, because this was my first time. I'm going to put her name on the screen just in case I say her name incorrectly. Ambre Renee. Ambre Renee. Oh my god. Her name is on the screen, but her video helped me the best. Like, her explanation and the visual to go along with it for how she was tucking the hair underneath, and that it wasn't a feed-in method for the back braids, really helped me. So shout out to her, as well as her video. I'll have it linked in my description box. That way you all can watch more than one video and, you know, slay your braids, sis. We stayed up all night doing this. That's not 2:46 in the afternoon. That's 2:46 a.m., sis. You either want braids or you don't. You either gonna put the time in or you won't. So it's the next morning now. I'm showing you all my braids because we're going to dip them, and I want you all to, I guess, understand why dipping matters. My braids are kind of rigid. They just don't move. Like, I need these braids to move, sis. So I already boiled my water. Get your towel handy. I thought somebody that needed help braiding their hair said something. We don't need help doing none of this. We don't even need help dipping our hair. We got these, okay? So dip a few at a time. Get your towel ready. Looks like mine is sitting on, it's sitting on the eye, but that's not the eye that I used. The stove is currently off, but I'm just gonna dip my hair a few at a time, over trying to dip it all at once. One thing to be mindful of when dipping your ends into this boiling water, if your hair is longer than my hair, if your natural or relaxed hair is longer than mine, then only dip the amount that is your braiding hair. But my hair is like all the way at the top. So yeah, we good. After that, I'm going to leave my braids hanging straight down while they dry. You don't want to like bundle them up on top of your head to go shower or anything, because as they're drying, they may wrinkle if you do that. So later on, I went ahead and added a few beads to the look. I'm just going to apply 5 beads onto this little beater thing. I got all of this at the beauty supply store. And then you want to stick your braid through and kind of push upwards. I take the very last one and I kind of loop the hair over itself, and also make sure the length is as close as possible. And then you just want to rubber band that and cut off any excess, and that's how you put beads on your braids. That's preference, of course. It adds a little personality, and voila, there we have it. Jumbo knotless braids. I've done my own feed-in braids before, but this is a first for knotless braids. I'm feeling it.
I got some braids.
We're on Dominique's Snapchat right now. So that's how I did my first set of jumbo knotless braids. I absolutely love the way they turned out. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you like the jumbo braids, or if you're thinking about giving this a try. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's absolutely free. Questions and comments, leave all of that down below. And as always, I thank you all so much for watching.